Body Bag Records 5056. Subscribe. Hey, when you saw these video of these police officers, go to civilrights.com. It talks about police brutality. It talks about all that. They're gonna give you a record. Y'all need to stop recording on y'all phone and go to civil rights. They go police brutality. Why did they stop you? I experienced something the other day, yesterday, where the police stopped me and I was on the sidewalk and I had right to be, and I made many complaints on the Wiley police in Texas. And you get your reference number. It talks about this happened in the custody of a police, that they're intimidating in their car, and all the rest of these things that's going on. And if they're going, you got racism going on in the court building, and your state attorney don't want to help you out. Go to civil rights. This is not a prank. This is not a joke. Go to civil rights, and it will be able to tell you more. Please go to civil rights, and you will see it up on here. But they got civil rights. They got civil rights. It talks about police brutality. It talks about all of that. That this happened in the hands of the police. When the police stopped me, it talks about all of that. Other women and other dudes in Dallas, they mad. But I want to tell you, this is about police. And you go here, and if this happened in the police custody, before they even stop you, you gotta catch on to their spirit. The other day, I'm going to my barber, and I'm on the other side of the road, and the Wiley police intimidated me. So tried to intimidate me, and I went on there, right on that phone. If this happened in the police custody on civil rights, and it would tell you that on civilrights.gov, civil rights. It will tell you on civil rights, report civil rights. It will tell you the police. So they still, what I seen on your video, that's intimidation. That's intimidation of a police officer. That's intimidation of a police officer. So right now they gave me a ticket when they forced me across the street. They gave me a ticket, and the police forced me across the street. And then they instigated it and know I wasn't supposed to go across that street in a light. And that's what they're going to do. Don't get on your phone, and you got to realize something. When they doing that, telling you going to civil rights, that police officer, I'm at Bodyguard, at Body Bag Records, Body Bag Records 5065, and I'm like, hold up. That police you saw in the front of that line, he tried to intimidate you. And that guy tried to do it, and the women tried to, I'm right and you're wrong. It doesn't matter if you're civil rights and you're going on the app. That's intimidation. Standing your ground as a police officer. And they forced me across the street. So I got them from forcing me across the street of intimidation and bullying of a police officer. So bullying of a police officer when I filed my civil rights complaint. And they came way over there and started again. They still right there instigating the situation where the Wiley police had a chance to leave. So I just sued the Wiley police for $30 million and I filed a racial complaint on a judge, and I've been having stuff going on with the community. So those things, if the judge is not going to see your side, you're going to have to file a discrimination on the civil rights and on the Dallas Police Department and on the Raleigh Police Court Department. So they was intimidating. They wanted to stand their ground. When they look on their camera, I told them to leave here. I know my rights. They wanted to intimidate. They looked down at me and intimidated me and wanted to stand their ground. And I told the civil rights and I told the Justice Department, that's intimidation. That's intimidation that the Wiley police doing, and you're telling me something that the community is doing to me. And I've been writing that down. So the behavior, I got a court September the 5th, and it should be throwing out. And if it ain't throwing out, That's racial behavior. That's racial behavior because the other community behavior. I'm like, all right, when I was in Walmart, I saw the spirit. The other day, I'm in Walmart, and I saw the spirit of this white girl rolling her eyes at me with an attitude. Her spirit, her facial expression. Same thing happened in 2019. I'm in Brahms. I come in there, something off about the customers and something off about the employees. And it was a racial isolate thing. So I went to civil rights. I told them, the Justice Department, look at the spirit behavior of the employees. Look at something in the customers. Something was not right. And they talk about it should not matter what I say when I'm trying to get the government attention. It should not matter. You're the way you behave when I come in. It should not matter what I say in that restaurant. It's what you say and the behavior of what you're doing. It makes all the difference. So I told him to look at the camera. This is me. I don't work for nobody or nothing. This is trying to prove, God said, I'm trying to prove to racism and what happened in Brahms and McDonald's. So that's what I'm trying. That everybody in Dallas say I work for. No, when we see the spirit of our enemy, deception and racism, that becomes a big problem with that situation. Dallas don't want to take responsibility for what they part in care. Everybody don't know what's in care. When God told Moses to paint the wall with blood, he know the non-believers was going to be the people that did me wrong. They talking to people. And they doing all of that bullshit where I'm getting on the train and I haven't met people. One thing I told people, I said, I'm not going to go in nobody's hood, even though Texas and Dallas be my home. I'm not going to go to MetroCare and hang out and play this game where I know point of views and belief system is not going on. I'm not going to do that where the belief system is not right. It's not about proving, oh, you from here, you from here. I'm not going to do that. You realize with Soulja Boy and what happened to T.I., you're not going to do that in those situations. So it's a different way you have to handle the different things of the belief system. It's the belief system that's causing the problem. At the hood, at the whole hood, not knowledge. What you mean? They're going to listen to another man off a song because they ain't knowledge. It's a manipulation. It's not understanding your power of mindset, your power mentality. It's not understanding these things. So I got reference number from City Rights. It talks about instead of having y'all phone on TikTok, tell your friends to go to Civil Rights. But I'm looking at body bags. At body bags. Young Bird, whatever Young Bags Records. 507. I'm looking at you. That's what the police tried to intimidate me. They wanted to stand their ground. And that what happened. And I got them for intimidation. When I told the Justice Department and I told them to leave, they didn't want to leave. They stood right there and looked at me and intimidated. And they didn't care about I went to civil rights. That's intimidation. That means racism and the Mexican standing his ground with intimidation. I want everybody to go to civil rights and tell y'all friends, go to civil rights. And by the time their actions stop and you go into civil rights, Wayne Jay-Z said, I got a 99 problem with a bitch ain't one. You're going to need a warrant for that. Tell them, when you tell your friend to have a search warrant, when you go in there, you see the police. When you see the police, you already need to put up a search warrant. You already need to pull up the civil rights and tell them, all right, the police stopping me. And I told them, no, they cannot. I'm telling them, before they stop me, I'm telling them no. Not to go through with searching my car. You got a warrant for that. And I told them no. The police gonna try to intimidate. Give them your license. But other than that, they are not doing anything beyond that. They're not doing anything beyond that. They're not doing none of that. So when we have those things and we understand those things, and I realized something that happened when I was actually yesterday, the day before, where they tried to intimidate it and stand their ground. Don't get on the civil rights and call it intimidation. That means a police officer is intimidating you when you go on the civil rights and tell them, have somebody on the close to go on the civil rights. They'll be on the civil rights. So don't allow them, and I'm going to put this Tash body bag for he can go shit. Everybody can stop this being on that. And this police officer tried to intimidate. The Wale police officer tried to intimidate. I'm getting them for intimidation. Intimidation of a police officer. Forcing somebody to go across the street. And I told the Justice Department, right now I got my ticket and I got everything. And I set my court date. They give you a court date. The Wale give you a court date. And I set it for September the 5th. So I told the Justice Department, and I told her I'm giving you enough time to communicate with the justice. That's enough time to set that court date. And the next day I got that ticket, and I set the court date up for September the 5th. That give enough day. And when I was across there, they intimidated and laughing. And they started it. They instigated it. It was planned by the police officers. The way they stood right there in that position. It was planned. And then when I told the Justice Department, it was actually planned. So you go to civil rights. You see that guy that's in another state that goes without a warrant? I said, he ain't met me yet. Because after I told him 3 times, get on the Civil Rights Act. Abuse of power. When you don't have your warrant as a bounty hunter. When you don't have a warrant and you lying. Going and messing with people's stuff. Civil rights. It talks about private police, sheriff, local police. It talks about all of this on civil rights. But the police are still going to abuse their power. And that's when you go to court, when they give you a ticket, they're going to get sued. They're going to get sued. So you go to civil rights, guys. Please tell your friend, it talks about police violence, house discrimination. All the rest of those things it got in here. It give you a reference number. So when I called them and I wrote them, and I wrote them because I was in that same position over there, and the Mexican police officer were acting jealous in the spirit. We seen his spirit behavior. So God said we seen his spirit behavior. If I was in the army, I wanted a monopolist to see my enemy. I wanted a satellite to see my enemy. I wanted a thing to see my enemy. I would see my enemy by spirit. We would actually see our enemy by spirit. Feel their spirit energy. See the facial expression of. It's the same thing I saw in Walmart. Jealousy with James. Jealousy with Xavier. And right now I'm fighting a battle when you're on the clock and you're doing customer service. I told him to look at the facial expression from James and Robert when I first met him. Jealousy in the Holy Spirit. God is saying we seeing jealousy. And I had Robert say, Robert gonna tell me, oh, this is not a great place. No, it's not a great place for you, God said. Because when God say, when we see the Holy Spirit of jealousy, they're gonna try to deny it. But we telling the Justice Department, look at the camera of the Holy Spirit, of me interacting with the customers. And that's one thing, when I'm on that floor, look at James, look at Robert, how jealous he was. Look at all of the customer service I did, and look at the other employees' facial expressions. So it's about watching the spirit of the facial expression. So when I was walking in, this guy with the blue hat, he looked out. This is not, I don't work for nobody. This is me catching on to the spirit. So just the same day when another big guy was up in that 7-Eleven right there. Another thing that happened, and he looked down on me at the spirit, watching me in the spirit. And I say, hold up, we got to prove. Watch his spirit behavior of me just paying attention to the aisle, and I'm still watching the way this person behave himself in the spirit. It's in the spirit behavior. It's the spirit behavior. God is able to see those things. So we able to understand these things. When I'm in church in the city and I tell them, hold up, I don't see body. I'm not worried about your looks. I'm not worried about those things. I see spirit. HUBERT, Junior, Sellers, Hugh, Baby Legend. I see spirit. Let me give you another thing to my Insta. Let me see if I got this on here. I see spirit. Let me see if I downloaded this Instagram because I got a lot of Instagrams. All right. Baby Junior, BABF Baby Junior. Baby. Legendary Baby 4200. I got so many accounts that it's not even storing. So I'm about to post a video. Go at me at Baby F Baby Junior Baby Legendary Legend Baby 42. So I'm gonna download a video, and we are watching out for the spirit of our enemy. So we understand those things, and we understanding it. The thing is, can you catch on to the police before they even stop you? Could you catch on to the warning sign? God said. God said, can you catch on to the warning sign? Whatever situation you in, I don't care, you gangster, can you catch on to the warning sign? And can you go to that civil rights? It's about catching on. You know, I was riding a train the other day going, and I saw a detective walking right past the street. I was walking on the train and I saw a detective. And he was observing. I saw his spirit. He had a badge and he was walking the street. The same thing I saw in the Galleria in the Carrollton. I saw the spirit of them. The same in Dallas. I was able to, and plus the government working his spirit, scratching his head. It saw him out. He knew I was looking in dead in his eyes and in his spirit. And he started to act unnormal. We are catching on to the spirit. You go to civil rights. Stop broadcasting stuff. And they still wanted to intimidate. Rocky cops step out of Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you something that happened to me in Addison, and happened to me in Addison. The police and they kept doing that. So I filed a racial complaint against the Addison police and the Dallas because they was going back and forth to do business, and I had my camera. So these things are gonna come into circle when it plays. So when you go to, have you been, go to the civil rights, you get them and your account, your social media. If you recording it, anything that you doing, you make sure you have that account and you recording the misconduct. So people in Dallas lost because they're not knowledge enough. But go to civil rights. I'm gonna post this to this guy thing, Body Bag Records. I'm gonna post this to Body Bag Records. And I want y'all to go tell everybody what we about to do, the knowledge, the knowledge, everybody about their rights. Body Bag Records. And tell them we know the police gonna intimidate and act like they have power. And act like they have power and intimidate. When you're going on that civil rights, your female friend should be able to go on that civil rights. So everybody, you get your reference number, you keep your reference number. I have my ticket. When I made my complaint on the city Rowlett of intimidation, the Rowlett courtroom, they give you a reference number too. The Rowlett courtroom give you a number too. So you got the reference number for the Rowlett courtroom. So they also give you a reference number. So they also give you those things. So those things are understandable. So when you make a complaint against the Rowlett police, and they give you a reference number, you sign in, you do everything with the community, you sign in, and you do those things. So you do all of those things, and when you go to Rowlett courtroom, it's Rowlett courtroom, doctor. It's Rowlett courtroom. So you go do those things, and you go speak what you need to speak. Body Bags Records. I hope you catch on.